I invite the leader of the third party to lead the House in prayer or reflection.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. This is partially adapted from a prayer offered by a Lillooet Nation elder at a recent event I attended, so I wanted to start by acknowledging the wisdom I'm borrowing from sources including Indigenous ways of knowing. I'll ask for your benevolence. This is a participatory reflection. So I'll invite those of you who are comfortable to close your eyes or make a soft gaze on a focal point in front of you. Stand with your palms open. We'll start by grounding ourselves, consciously sensing your feet on the floor, up to your legs, your abdomen, arms, neck, mouth, nose, eyes, and ears, and finally to the top of your head. Feel the energy flow around you and through you, the energy of this building, of your fellow members of the city, this province we call home, the energy that is all around us. Imagine this energy is connecting us together and reflecting us to each other. A small speck in an infinite universe, but a web of common hopes and dreams for the citizens and the communities that we serve. Now, with this grounding, I invite you to envision a world, an entire planet where peace, joy, love, and kindness are the default, where our innate human competitive spirit is harnessed for us all to feel loved, safe, and valued. We're often conditioned for bad news in this chamber. If we hold a vision of loving kindness in our hearts, we will be better equipped to move towards the world we want. It is entirely within our reach. Please keep this vision in your hearts and minds for as long as you can today and in the coming weeks and months. I bow to the light in each and every one of you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Introduction by members. Minister of Forests.
Thanks very much, Mr. Speaker, and good morning to everyone. Really excited to be able to introduce an incredible group of people who are joining us here in the gallery this morning. These folks literally put the roofs over the heads of millions of people around the world. We've got the Cedar Shake and Shingle Bureau in town. I want to introduce Mike Hamilton and Tanner Walde from the Watkins Group, Curtis Walker from Walden Forest Products Limited, Tom Sutherland from Riverside Shingle Products Vancouver Island Limited, and the guy that champions all the great work that happens with Cedar Shake and Shingle here in British Columbia and throughout Canada is Nav Kunar. I'm looking forward to the opportunity of meeting them later this morning. Will the House please join me in making them all feel very welcome?
Member for Prince George, North Caribou.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure to introduce the members of the Federation of Post-Secondary Educators who are in the precinct this week doing the lobbying visits. As a member of the Federation of Post-Secondary Educators, I was a bargainer for many years, and I just want you to make the President, Brent Calvert, and the President of my own local, Martin Tejero, along with the other presidents of all the rest of the locals of the Federation of Post-Secondary Educators, welcome. Thank you.
Minister of Jobs and Economy Growth.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I see Juliana here from my office that is witnessing her first ever question period. Juliana's an integral part of our team in our office. She is also a marathon runner and super competitive in all athletics. And I just want to say to her, welcome to this chamber. And she grew up in this community. She said, I've never really been in the building until she got a job and started working here. So hopefully she feels this place is her home now. Please join me in welcoming her to this chamber.
Member for Kamloops Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's not often that I have somebody not only from my riding here, but also, well, actually he doesn't live in my riding, I guess. He lives in the Kamloops North Thompson riding, but also a family member. So my son Ethan is here today with us. He wasn't able actually to come in 2017. He had a lacrosse game, so he has actually never been here while we're in session or anything like that as well. So I'm glad after all these years he's been able to come down, and will the House please make him welcome.
Minister of Citizen Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Carly Bernays, the Administrative Assistant in Citizen Services, is here for her first question period today. Not only is she incredibly competent at her job, but she's the spirit of the office, and I want everyone here to make her feel very welcome.
Minister of Tourism and Arts.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I would like to recognize two outstanding leaders in our local sports community. Jim Swanson, who is the managing partner of the Victoria Harbour Cats since 2013, and a former journalist and a broadcaster and a longtime contributor to baseball at all levels. Under his leadership, the Harbour Cats have reached the playoffs multiple times and earned numerous awards, including WCL Executive of the Year. And as well beside him is Adrian Sommers, Vice President of Operations and Business, joined the Harbour Cats in 2024. With deep roots in local baseball and softball, Adrian brings extensive experience in community sport leadership and business development, ensuring the success of the Harbour Cats and their training program. Will the House please make these two friends feel very welcome?
Minister of Children and Family Development.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today is National Child Day. I can't think of more of an honor than being the Minister of Children and Family Development on this day. And I am pleased to introduce to the House a number of leaders in child development in this province who are here, executive directors of child development centres across our province. The board of the BC Association for Child Development and Intervention is here, many of whom have taught me so much in my career about being a leader, working with families and children, making sure that they get the intervention that they need early on, overseeing thousands of therapists and family support workers and clinical counselors, doing crucial work that really is transformational in the future of children and families. And so I appreciate all of you. We have leaders from BC Children's Hospital, from the Child Development Centre in Fort St. John, just everywhere in this province, corner to corner, doing such important work. Thank you for what you do, and if the House would join me in making them feel very welcome.
Member for Kamloops North Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would also like to welcome the Cedar Shake and Shingle Bureau, as our Forest Minister did earlier. Was fortunate enough to meet with them yesterday. They represent thousands of workers, not only in forestry, but also in construction around the world. And I know that we all have concerns on fiber supply, certainty of supply. There's some significant challenges in our forest industry. We had a very good meeting with them, and I wish them all the very best, and will the House please make them feel welcome. Thank you.
Minister of Social Development.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me add to my colleague's introduction, Jim Swanson of the Nanaimo Night Owls. Not just one team. And also joining us in the gallery are disability advocates, Jeff Leggett, Brent Frame, Sonia Grandel. They were with us when we announced changes to the spousal rule on Friday, and I'm so glad they're here, having impact in this legislature. Welcome, friends.
Minister of Mining.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It's a good day for the South Asian seniors. They are here, so I'm very pleased to welcome Trana Kaur, the founder of the Happiness Wellness Community Society, an organization dedicated to serving low-income immigrant seniors through culturally appropriate and multilingual programs promoting community health and wellness. And Trana has done an exceptional job to supporting these seniors are living a good life, and they are Surinder Kaur Bath, Suvinder Palia, Kuldeep Virk, Surinder Kaur Bernara, Kusum Kundewala, Surinder Kaur Singh, Dhanvinder Bhular, Geeta Jani, Trana Kaur, Baldev Kaur Gill, Daljit Uppal, Paul Singh Uppal, Surinder Kaur Garewal, Amar Singh. I'll ask the House to please give them a warm welcome of this House.
Member for Langley Willowbrook.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I have the honor of introducing a third-generation commercial farmers from Langley, Scott and Natasha Jensen. We know how important farmers are to our communities and to our local economy. Can the House please make them feel really welcomed?
Minister of Post-Secondary Education.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and my friend beat me to the punch, but I would also like to welcome all of the members that are here on the precinct this week from the Federation of Post-Secondary Educators. They represent over 10,000 faculty and staff that are teaching at institutions, colleges, universities throughout our province, and they are such staunch advocates for the sector. So I really want to give a big thank you to Brent Calvert, who's the president, as well as I believe it's almost 20 members that are here this week to speak with us. I had the honor of speaking with them yesterday and really hearing from them what things we can really work on together to ensure that our post-secondary sector continues to thrive and continues to provide the best education across our country. So thank you so much, and please help me welcome them into the House today.
Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to join my colleague from Langley Willowbrook and welcome the Jansens into the chamber. I think they were touring around Victoria today and just happened to notice that we were in session, so I'm really happy to see them. I also just wanted to acknowledge that we're in the midst of a really difficult season again for avian influenza, and so just wanted to mention that everyone in this House is so thankful for you doing what you do. Thank you.
Member for Burnaby South Metro Town.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I'm very excited to welcome amazing entrepreneurs all the way from South Korea who are here. They flew 2 days ago to get here. They're here to visit and learn about the parliamentary system we have here in BC, but also to explore different investment opportunities here in BC, knowing that BC is a great place to invest and do business. They are from Shop Live. We have CEO Gi-young Kim, COO Eun-hwan Kim, and then we have software engineers Hyunwoo Kim, Han-sol Shin, Jin-yong Choi, Sung-ho Hwang. So if I can ask the House to please make them feel very welcome, all the way from Korea.
Member for Langley Abbotsford.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today we have Brookswood Secondary class here, Political Studies by Miss Glover, and they're here to see democracy in action. And they're also here to see our 6-7 premier answer some hard-hitting questions like they asked me when I came to visit them. Thank you very much. Please will the House make them feel very welcome.
Madam Clerk.
Introduction of bills.
Leader of the Fourth Party.
Honourable Speaker, I move that a bill entitled the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation Statute Repeal Act, of which a notice has been given in my name on the order paper, be introduced and read a first time now. Mr. Speaker, our bill will remove Truth and Reconciliation Day as a holiday in British Columbia. Why? Because it doesn't deserve to be one. This day celebrates the greatest lie in Canadian history, the lie that 215 bodies were found at the Kamloops Indian Residential School. But the truth is, Canadians never have committed a genocide. This holiday seeks to shame Canadians for building a civilization, for building Canada instead of leaving this land as an untamed wilderness. The idea that we need to reconcile presumes an act of wrongdoing and regret. But we have no regrets, nothing to reconcile for, and no apologies to give, because we did nothing wrong. Settling and building Canada was great, and we're proud of it. Canadians embarked on grand and daring journeys to explore this continent. They braved rocky rivers and scaled towering mountains. They built railroads. They built this beautiful legislative building. Canadians discovered insulin and saved millions of lives. Canadians ushered in marvels of engineering and sent astronauts into outer space. We're proud to have staved off the American invasion in the War of 1812. We're proud to have fought in 1 and 2 world wars. We're proud to have invented the telephone. We're proud we ended slavery, established laws, and brought peace to warring tribes. We're proud to have brought Indigenous people with us into the modern age and formed Canada together. Instead of guilting our nation, let's celebrate it.
Member, the question is first reading of the bill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Division has been called. Members, the question is first reading of the bill introduced by the leader of the fourth party. All those in favor, please rise or indicate. Thank you. Be seated. Those who oppose, please rise or indicate. Thank you. Be seated. And Madam Clerk will connect with members participating remotely. Please keep your mics on. Madam Clerk.
Minister Baer.
I vote nay.
MLA Chan.
I vote nay.
MLA Chant.
I vote nay.
MLA Day.
I vote nay.
MLA Dew.
Vote nay.
Minister Green.
I vote nay.
Minister Lohr.
I vote nay.
MLA Phillip.
I vote nay.
MLA Warbus.
I vote nay.
Those voting aye, Brody Armstrong Keeley, 3. Those voting nay, Lord G. Anderson, Blatherwick, Rutledge, Chant, Toporowski, B. Anderson, Neal, Osborne, Brar, Krieger, Davidson, Parmar, Sunner, Baer, Chandra Herbert, Wickens, Kang, Sandhu, Beg, Higginson, Phillip, Lajeunesse, Choi, Rochford, Elmore, Morissette, Popham, Dix, Sharma, Farnworth, E.B. Bailey, Callon, Green, Whiteside, Boyle, Ma, Young, Malcolmson, Gibson, Glumac, Aurora, Shaw, Chow, Deere, Wilson, Kindy, Millibar, Warbus, Rustad, Banman, Watt, Cooner, Halford, Hartwell, Van Popta, Dew, Clare, Neufeld, Bangu, Peyton, Gasper, Chan, Tour, Hepner, Giddens, Rattay, Davis, McInnes, Bird, McCall, Stamer, Day, Tepper, Mock, Williams, Lowen, Dollywell, Dirksen, Luck, Locke, Valeriot, Botterill, Sturko, and Boltby, 86.
Motion is defeated. Member for Penticton Summerland.
Speaker, I stand on a point of order. During her introduction of the bill, the member from Vancouver Kilchanis stated that there was no wrongdoing by Canada against First Nations and Indigenous people during settlement. This is factually untrue, and there is no historical debate about this fact. It is extremely damaging to have factual inaccuracies such as this go unrepudiated in this House, and I would ask that the Speaker ask the member to withdraw.
Members, thank you very much for your point of order. At this point, this is a matter of debate, and the chair will not intervene. Madam Clerk.
Statements by members.
Member for Langley Walnut Grove.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In my home, for one member of my family, November 21st is akin to Valentine's Day. You see, tomorrow is World Fisheries Day, and for my marine biologist daughter, Georgia, that is a day to highlight all things fishy. Now, she comes by it honestly. Both my immigrant Finnish grandfather and Norwegian grandfather We're commercial fishermen sailing the difficult waters of the Bering Sea, the Inside Passage, Active Pass, and the Fraser River. And both my parents grew up surrounded by rough sailors and hard work. And even my dad, at the age of 16, became a union member. World Fisheries Day is a day to highlight and celebrate the importance of sustainable stocks while strengthening the rights of small-scale fishing communities throughout the world. From Lake Victoria in Africa to the Aegean Sea in Europe to the Amazon River of South America and the South China Sea in Asia, billions of people rely on the health of our fisheries to sustain them. It's a fine balance to both preserve our ocean and river sources while also using them as a resource for food and livelihoods. Our oceans, much like our forests, are complex ecosystems inhabiting both beauty and function. The cod collapse on the East Coast in the 1990s is a glaring example of how overfishing can not only affect the health of an ecosystem, but also the economy of an entire province. And World Fisheries Day is a good reminder to everyone to work together to support the rights to ancestral food sources, the right to work our waters, and the right to enjoy the bounty and beauty all around us. So the next time you pull off your boots, pull up your pant legs and squish the murky sands of a Pacific Northwest beach between your toes. Take a moment to reflect on the complex dichotomy of preservation, conservation, and consumption. The future of your sushi rolls depends on it.
Member for Burnaby East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Come along with me as I take us back to the moment I came across a social experiment that has never left me. It begins simply. Several strangers are asked to pair up and build a bar together. They don't know each other's names, histories, or beliefs, just that they have a task to complete side by side. They hold private interviews beforehand and answer a series of questions. And then the pairs get to work. They lift pieces of wood, hold up the frame, laugh when it wobbles, adjust, and they try again. They solve problems together, they succeed together, and without knowing it, each discovers something about the other, that in that moment of their shared work, their differences don't feel like barriers at all. There was one pair whose interaction I haven't forgotten. One participant is a woman. In her interview, she described herself in the most ordinary human ways we can all understand. A mom, a sister, an aunt, someone whose life, like anyone's, is defined by the people she loves and cares for. She shares that she is trans. The other, a man who shares that he doesn't think being transgender is right. Not because he's angry, not because he's cruel, but simply because he's never met a transgender person in his life. The world to him has always been rather absolute. When the bar is complete, they're asked to watch videos of each other answering these earlier private questions. He sees her honesty, she sees his uncertainty, and then they're given a choice. Walk away or stay, have a beer, and talk a little more. He chooses to stay. He tells her the world isn't as simple as he once imagined. She smiles, patient and open. By the end, through shared laughs, he jokes that he'll have to let his wife know that he's staying in touch with another girl. It's a small moment, but profound. Two people who began as opposites walked away with an understanding. Today, on the Transgender Day of Remembrance, we honor those we've lost. This interaction demonstrates how we can work together to honor the living. Trans youth still face the highest suicide attempt rates, but recognizing and affirming transgender people as people deserving of safety, dignity, curiosity, and connection can literally save lives. If we can build a bar together, we can build understanding together. Thank you.
Member for Abbotsford Mission.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am grateful for the opportunity to recognize Mission Hospice Society, an organization that has become steady, compassionate presence for so many families in my community since 1985. In Mission, supporting one another isn't just something we talk about. It's something we practice, especially in the hardest moments of life. That belief is lived out every day by the staff and volunteers at Mission Hospice. I have seen firsthand how they meet families with patience, clarity, and genuine care. These are not strangers offering a service. They are neighbors sitting with neighbors, offering support that feels sincere and grounded. Mission Hospice doesn't step away once a life ends. Their bereavement programs is a lifeline for many in our community. In a world that often moves too quickly, they remind us of the value of slowing down and simply being there for one another. And for families who rely on them, that presence is unforgettable. I want to acknowledge the people who make this work possible. The counselors, the volunteers, the team members who quietly give so much of themselves. Their compassionate strength strengthens our community in ways that go far beyond the walls of any facility. It shows up in the lives they touch, in the families they support, and the dignity they help preserve. Honorable Speaker, Mission Hospice Society represents the heart of community service, steady, humble, and deeply human, and I am proud to recognize their work in this chamber today and to thank them.
Member for Coquitlam-Millardville.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today, we commemorate the proclamation of November 20th as Child and Youth Day in our province because the care and love we provide to young people is the foundation of every good thing we achieve as a society. We chose November 20th because it's National Child Day in our country and is recognized globally as World Children's Day. This day commemorates the 1989 adoption of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, the most rapidly ratified human rights treaty in history. In my community, that work was localized by the Tri-Cities Early Childhood Development Committee and the Middle Childhood Matters Group. In 2018, they brought together municipalities and villages, the school district, health authorities, and children to write the Tri-Cities Children's Charter. Here's some of what the children said. They wanted the right to be loved and have a family, the right to have friends, the right to have peace and safety, the right to be respected, and the right to have a voice. The world is increasingly complex for youth to navigate, with a set of challenges different from what previous generations have experienced. It's critical that we do everything we can to ensure children and youth in this province can thrive and live their best lives. That's why we must continue working toward a renewed model of child well-being, improving how programs and services work together, with a focus on early support and prevention. That's how we can better help families so every young person can reach their full potential. Working to raise up children from historically marginalized groups that were denied full access to those rights for generations. Continuing to work with Indigenous governments and partners to support their inherent right to jurisdiction over child and family services, and to more fully implement the Convention's principles for all children and youth in British Columbia. Today is an opportunity to celebrate that children and youth represent the promise of British Columbia's future and to their rights on November 20th and throughout the year. Thank you.
Leader of the third party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tomorrow is opening day at Whistler Blackcomb, the start of another ski season in my community that represents 25% of the tourism economy revenue in BC. It fosters a love of the outdoors, promotes active lifestyles, builds community, and facilitates the joys of sliding on snow. Mr. Speaker, there's nothing like the feeling of fresh tracks on a POW day, shredding the gnar, as the kids say, or used to say, a blank white slate with endless possibilities. It's a feeling West Vancouver Sea to Sky constituent Mike Douglas knows well. Known as the godfather of free skiing, Mike was a member of the New Canadian Air Force, a group of skiers that revolutionized the sport through a mix of backflips and rock and roll. And he developed the first twin-tip ski in the late 1900s. They were called the Solomon 1080s, which is 360-degree rotations. It helped earn him a place in the Canadian Ski Hall of Fame recently for iconic snow sport athlete in freestyle free ski. Mike is an innovator, and I'm most impressed by his dedication to orienting his vision to a healthier planet.
He co-founded the Canadian chapter of Protect Our Winters, POW for short, a community of professional athletes, outdoor brands, and enthusiasts who advocate for policy solutions to climate change and other issues related to our natural environment, like PFAS-free textiles and outdoor clothing and gear. Outdoor athletes see the effect of climate change firsthand as they train and compete outdoors. Extreme heat, retreating glaciers, more rain, a reduced snowpack, and poor air quality are threatening and have destroyed venues they rely on. This can lead to climate anxiety and other mental health concerns, a topic Mike addressed in his documentary Sam and Me, where he mentors a Pemberton High School student in how to think about and address the existential climate threat. POW knows that the solutions to the climate crisis already exist. We just need to act on them. As professional athletes, they understand the commitment, hard work, and focus needed to achieve ambitious goals. Mr. Speaker, I congratulate them on their important work and congratulate Mike on his investiture into the Canadian Ski Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Member for Kootenay-Monashee.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today I'm proud to rise in celebration of National Youth Day, a day to recognize the incredible talent, creativity, and determination of young people right across British Columbia. No matter where you go, from our biggest cities to our smallest rural towns, you'll find young people leading the way. They're involved, committed, and coming up with new ideas to keep their hometowns vibrant and connected. I love the energy and excitement of youth. My wife and I raised 4 boys and most often had 3, 4, or more extras around the dinner table. We supplied the mountains of food, but they brought the love and laughter to the table. In my travels through rural BC, I've met so many inspiring young people who show us that leadership isn't about where you live, nor is it about your age. It's about the size of your heart and your willingness to take action. Our role as a province is to make sure youth have every opportunity to succeed, whether that means good jobs close to home, strong schools, affordable housing, or access to the tools and training they need to build their future right where they want to be. So today on National Youth Day, let's celebrate the energy, optimism, and creativity that young people bring to every community across BC. To all the youth out there, when I hear people say today's youth are our future, I agree with that, but your age does not exclude you from the present. Most importantly, you are the here and now, building a better province with us. We're proud of you, we believe in you, and we can't wait to see what you'll do next. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Madam Clerk.
Oral questions by members.
Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Coquitlam First Nation has filed a title claim in court and asserted Aboriginal title over lands in Port Coquitlam and Coquitlam. The claim area includes the former Riverview Hospital site and covers over 1,000 acres. The fire of uncertainty that has been created in this province and the fear is spreading because this Premier has refused to stand up and fight for private property rights. The Premier has lit this match. What is his plan to put this out so that certainty can be brought back to the people in British Columbia over their private property rights?
Mr. Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Just like the Cowichan case, the Coquitlam case is one that was filed when the Leader of the Opposition was a Cabinet Minister on this side of the House. I think it's important to recognize that the case was advancing through court. When we formed government, we intervened with the Coquitlam First Nation, said let's sit down and work out a reconciliation agreement with you, a treaty agreement, so that we're able to address this case in a way that provides certainty to everybody. That was an option that was available to the Leader of the Opposition when he was Minister responsible for Indigenous relations. He chose not to take it. He chose to advance us to a court decision that could lead to great uncertainty. And even now he says that we need to stop conversations with First Nations who are key partners in major economic developments in our province, representing tens of thousands of jobs. He wants to put our economy at risk. He wants to create uncertainty. He wants to shut down these conversations. And these are cases that started on his watch.
Member supplemental.
The Premier loves to put a lot of spin on this, but the reality is very simple. When these things come to court, you stand up and you fight for the rights, particularly the rights of private property owners in this province, something this government has failed to do. And in particular in this case, once again, the Premier has just admitted he is negotiating away private property rights without actually including or informing the members and the people that own these properties in this province. He just admitted that here. And you know what? This Premier could actually take a lesson from Mayor Brad West. And he was clear, Matt Brad West was clear in a statement he said yesterday, and I want to read it. I quote, "We have and will continue to vigorously defend public ownership of these lands along with private property rights in our jurisdiction," end quote. Something this Premier refuses to say, creating this uncertainty that we have in this province. So the question to the Premier is really simple. Does he regret his weakness in defending private property rights in British Columbia, and will he apologize to British Columbians for creating so much fear and uncertainty?
Mr. Premier.
Well, Honourable Speaker, the member can make his arguments, but he can't have his own facts. From the statement from Mayor Brad West, quote, "There are no civil claims initiated by any First Nations involving private property within the city of Port Coquitlam."
Can read that far.
And then, quote again, "It is important to note that no private lands within Port Coquitlam are currently the subject of litigation." And he says we're secretly negotiating them away. It's a lie, Honourable Speaker. It's false.
Members.
Just like the member would recognize many of the arguments that we put forward in court on Cowichan, because they were arguments that were put forward when he was the Minister of Indigenous Relations in the government at the time in the Statement of Defence. They're the same arguments that we're putting forward, fighting for certainty for private property owners, which is exactly what we did, Honourable Speaker. When we go to court and the court issues a decision, there is great uncertainty that is caused by that. Whenever we can, we try to avoid court by reaching agreement outside of court. It's like we did with the HIDA, where we protected private property explicitly. And so...
Members, come to order.
The members are opposed to the economic growth we're advancing in this province. The North Coast Transmission Line that they voted against yesterday, 10,000 jobs, Indigenous partnerships, $1 billion a year for government revenues, partnerships with the Tahltan First Nations, $50 billion in mining development. I know they hate our success as a province. They are not in favor of our success as a province because they want to be on this side. If we're successful as a province, they're going to have to stay over there.
Member for Columbia River Revelstoke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In relation to what's happening in the Northwest behind closed doors, we'll get to that later. As the member, the Leader of the Official Opposition mentioned, there is currently a court case with the Coquitlam First Nation for Aboriginal title. And the lands in question include the City of Port Coquitlam, the Province of British Columbia, and the Vancouver Regional District. This includes Gates Park Athletic Field, which is used by families and children for soccer practice, etc. Apparently, Mr. Speaker, this court case is on pause while the government negotiates a deal which they haven't told the public. Will the Premier stand up today and tell us, and tell all British Columbians, exactly what the details of that negotiation are? Hear, hear.
Mr. Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It is not unusual. In fact, it is regular practice when the government is sued or when the government sues someone else to engage in settlement negotiations, to attempt to bridge the differences and find a path forward outside of court. That's exactly what we're doing here. I don't understand why the member would want to force this to court. We can see what happens. Under the Chilcotin... When the leader of the Conservatives sat on this side of the House under the Chilcotin decision, went all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada, the largest land claim decision of the Supreme Court of Canada ever, threw the whole region into uncertainty. We're still sorting that out, Honourable Speaker. Why the members on that side want to stop these conversations, want to force things into court, want to end economic discussions with nations that provide certainty to proponents and grow our economy and lift up the whole province is beyond me. But I've seen the ideology on that side. I heard it with a member that they brought into this House just this morning. They brought that member into this House. They brought that ideology into this House, and it is not that far away from the Conservative ideology. We have a different perspective, that our whole province needs to work together, that British Columbians need to work together, including in partnership with First Nations, to do our part to lift the national economy, which is what we're doing. We are the economic engine of the country, leading all provinces with major projects that will transform the Canadian economy, build jobs and prosperity, and they are dead opposed to it, Honourable Speaker.
Member supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, working together is exactly what we're asking the government to do. British Columbians, most of them, support a level of reconciliation in this province. But I've talked to private property owners from around BC who are extremely concerned that potentially their private property is either under a claim before the courts for Aboriginal title or under negotiation for Aboriginal title. Why would they think any differently? The province has said nothing. So, Mr. Speaker, my question is a simple one. Will the Premier stand up today and provide a list of both cases of Aboriginal title before the court and those that are under negotiation? Or will he continue to hide behind his iron curtain of reconciliation?
Mr. Premier.
Oh, what the member says simply is not true. We are appealing the couch in the... We are...
Members, please. Member, please continue.
We are appealing the Cowichan decision, particularly the findings of the court in... We're appealing the Cowichan decision, particularly the findings of the court in relation to the homeowners enrichment, the private business owner.
Members, please show some courtesy. Listen to the answer. You disagree, you can ask another question. In the meantime, stay quiet. Please, all of you. Thank you.
We are appealing the Cowichan decision, particularly the aspects of the decision that relate to the private property owners, the homeowners, and the business owners in Richmond. We fought for those rights in court, first instance. We fought for those rights in court at the first instance. We're seeking a stay of the decision at the Court of Appeal, and we will continue to work to protect private property rights. One of the best ways we can do that is to reach resolution outside of court, not leave things to the court to issue these decisions that create huge uncertainty.
Members, if that's what you want to do, keep arguing amongst yourselves, and there would be no answers provided. Members come to order. Order. Premier will
We are taking every possible measure in terms of the appeal of the Cowichan decision. We continue to ensure and to work to ensure that private property rights are respected and protected in the province. And also, we're working in partnership with First Nations to grow the provincial economy, grow the national economy for the benefit of all British Columbians and Canadians. We're proud of that work.
Third party House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're watching the price tag of the FIFA World Cup climb higher and higher. What started out as a $230 million estimate is now ballooned to more than $624 million. And whether it's mega-backed pipelines or a FIFA organization with a long history of questionable practices, the Premier has made his choice. If you have money, come on in. Need more? British Columbians will pick up the tab. British Columbians want to enjoy events like this, Mr. Speaker, but like so many other events in Vancouver, resale ticket prices for matches reaching upwards of $2,000 per ticket. Mr. Speaker, with prices like these, who is the tournament really for? The small percentage of people who can afford it? What are the Premier's thoughts? Let them eat cake? Ontario said it's considering legislation to cap resale prices. Here in BC, what is this government's response? Through the Speaker, to the Minister of Arts, Culture and Sport, what safeguards are in place to protect British Columbians from yet another runaway mega project dressed up as an opportunity?
Minister of Tourism, Arts, Culture and Sport.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Hosting the FIFA 2026 is an exciting opportunity for British Columbia, and we are so excited to be doing preparations with our partners. As we all know, the sales of tickets are of the responsibility of FIFA themselves, but we are creating opportunities and prosperity for British Columbia. We are welcoming the world and showcasing how amazing we are here in British Columbia with our different supernatural views, our Indigenous tourism, our hospitality here. And we are going to make sure that everybody gets the opportunity to participate in FIFA 2026, whether they are watching it in BC Stadium, BC Place, or whether they are having a watch party with their municipalities. We are working with municipalities to provide opportunities for watch parties so that we have free opportunities for everyone to enjoy FIFA 2026. And I welcome the members opposite to enjoy the festivities with us.
Member supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, the government says it is supporting British Columbians, offering them ways to watch the games, but what about our most vulnerable? In the same month of the World Cup, BC Housing will close one of Granville Street's SROs, uprooting an estimated 300 vulnerable tenants. This neighborhood sits inside a 2-kilometer beautification radius around BC Place, a requirement for FIFA's host city agreement. This feels like deja vu, Mr. Speaker. People remember what happened during the 2010 Olympics when unhoused residents were pushed out of key areas under the banner of safety and security, and meaningful non-market housing promises were broken. Advocates are worried about these street sweeps. Mr. Speaker, and to quote the Premier's words from 2008, marginalized populations in Vancouver not benefiting from the Games, they are being displaced by punitive new policies targeted at cleaning up Vancouver. Through you, Mr. Speaker, to the Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs, does this government have a real concrete rehousing plan for these 300 residents, or is this going to be another stadium-sized sweep under the rug in the name of keeping FIFA happy?
Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks for the question. We are working closely alongside BC Housing and the housing provider at the LUGAT, alongside the City of Vancouver as a partner to ensure that each of those tenants find a good, stable home. We know that moving can be destabilizing for folks who have experienced past trauma, and so we're working one-on-one with tenants to ensure that we relocate them well. The LUGAT as a housing site has had numerous challenges, and the City of Vancouver requested that we work in partnership with them and in partnership with surrounding businesses. That's important work that we're doing in a tenant-centered way, alongside the work that I have spoken about in these chambers before, about building good, supportive housing options across Vancouver and across communities around this province to ensure that our most vulnerable neighbours are well supported. That's work that we will continue to do, and quite frankly, I remain concerned about the level of opposition that we hear across the aisle to the support that we know address encampments to the supports that allow people to come inside.
Members, shh. Thank you, Minister.
We'll continue to support vulnerable neighbours and improve safety for them and everyone in this province.
House Leader of the Fourth Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning, I'll be reading from the Holy Scriptures of the United Nations Declarations on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. If you have it with you, please turn to Article 26. Quote, Indigenous peoples have the rights to the lands, territories, and resources which they have traditionally owned, occupied, or otherwise used or acquired. Mr. Speaker, if I'm not mistaken, that's all the land. That's the land under 150 private homes in Richmond. That's the land under the homes of 100,000 Kamloops residents. That's the land under your very own feet. Mr. Speaker, can the Premier point to any place in British Columbia that was not traditionally owned, occupied, used, or otherwise acquired by BC's Indigenous people?
Mr. Premier.
Thanks, Honourable Speaker. I would thank the member for the question, but it's been quite a day already with those members from 1 BC. Look, they have a clear position. It's obvious. It is a very unfortunate position, given the history in this place, where Indigenous people were specifically excluded from participating, from voting, displaced from lands, where they were subject to a biological attack with smallpox, where they were forced into residential schools, many were sexually abused, children died. To have to endure, for those members, for members in this House who are Indigenous, for people, high school kids, to be listening to the members promulgating fictions that suit their agenda in the face of the well-documented history of this province, and then to rise and to continue this attack on the work that we have to do at the same time as Indigenous people across this province are working with this government to deliver prosperity in every corner of British Columbia, to ignore those facts, that thousands of jobs that are going to be realized through these partnerships. I mean, it is a reprehensible, disgusting, appalling. I run out of words to describe what they're trying to do. They're trying to drag us to a terrible history, drag us back, and our government is focused on pushing forward, finding a path forward. It's not easy work, but it is the only path forward for this country and for this province. We're going to do it in partnership with Indigenous people.
Member has a supplemental?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Premier and the Leader of the official opposition voted UNDRIP into law in this province in 2019. This act of betrayal didn't just surrender the province to the 204 Indigenous tribes in BC, but now American tribes want to take in on the action too. Yesterday, news broke that a tribe from Alaska is in court demanding land rights over a gold mine in northwest BC. Can you blame them, Mr. Speaker? BC is up for sale, and the asking price is $0. My question for the Premier is whether there is any Indigenous tribe that he won't give our province away to.
Mr. Premier.
Honourable Speaker, first of all, and the member knows this, we have aggressively resisted the attempts by American tribes to establish claims here in British Columbia. We will continue to do so. We will continue to do so. And the member is completely wrong when she thinks about reconciliation as a cost, because in our province, reconciliation represents, we believe, on the order of probably $100 to $150 billion in economic activity, tens of thousands of jobs, and certainty and predictability for people and businesses across the province. And these numbers are backed by companies advancing major projects in this country. The member wants to rip that up for her ideology, which is clearly anti-Indigenous, unambiguously racist. And it is incredibly problematic that we have these voices in our legislature tearing at the fabric of the agreements that we need to be prosperous and successful in this province. Those tens of thousands of jobs are not up for grabs as long as we're on this side of the House. We're going to fight for those jobs. We're going to deliver prosperity for British Columbians. We're going to do it in partnership with First Nations and those members on the House, on that side of the House. I fully support any effort to recall these members, because there is not a chance that the people who voted for them had any idea about the agenda they'd be advancing in this House.
Member for Peace River North. Member for Peace River North.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'll transition to a different topic. Time and time again, we have heard in this House about critical concerns of drugs and crime that have spread like a parasite across our beautiful province. My region is a main route to the Yukon and Territories. We have had 5 shootings in Fort St. John in just a little over a month. This is a small city. These are gang shootings, and they are trying to consolidate their ownership of the trafficking route to the north. This is all because of the failed drug exemption that is being imposed in British Columbia. Failed drug exemption. I am deeply saddened that this government has made this the new normal. We now hold a title as a shipping import-export giant in the drug trafficking world, with our maple syrup and beer being used as a front for meth.
Member has a question.
My apologies, Mr. Speaker. I get one question every 3 weeks.
Please state your question.
My question to the Premier is, when will the Premier remove the failed federal drug exemption and right his wrongs?
Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you to the member for the question. Nothing is more important than providing people with access to the services that they need to stay alive while they are seeking help for addictions and substance use disorders. Mr. Speaker, this is a health issue, not a criminal justice issue. And that is why this government remains committed to bringing in tools to help people provide the access to those supports. And Mr. Speaker, people can't access them if they're not alive. Mr. Speaker, we remain committed to building out a continuum of mental health and substance use supports and services, and that includes increasing access for people in small communities, large communities across this province, as we help them on their journey towards recovery. It is work that we have invested millions and millions of dollars in. It is work that we are deeply committed to, and it is work that we are going to continue to undertake.
Member supplemental.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I didn't realize that meth and maple syrup were part of our healthcare system. Farmers across Canada, BC and the Peace region are preparing to protest November 22nd, this Saturday, because they feel abandoned by this government. We have had CFIA raids and suspicious-based farm seizures destroying family operations without due process. Chinese tariffs on Canadian canola hurting our farmers, while this government continues signing MOUs, trade deals, and procurement contracts with China. Herd reductions, feed shortages, wildfire losses, and family farms going bankrupt with little support. And a generation of young farmers are walking away
please ask question.
Because it is no longer feasible or affordable because they do not think the government is supporting them.
Question.
This isn't just about farmers, it's about all of us. My question for every single one of the government members, which one of you will come and stand this Saturday with the people and listen instead of operating behind closed doors?
Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think we've had discussions over the past number of weeks about how difficult it is
every single time, a farmer in the poultry industry is affected by avian influenza. Avian influenza, I don't know why I have to remind the member of this fact, but it is highly pathogenic. It is a virus that we can't contain. It is affecting the poultry industry right across North America. We see a case of human infection in Washington State just recently. This is not a disease to fool around with. We have poultry farmers that are sitting with us in the legislature today that probably live in fear every day that their barns are going to be infected. We are in the middle of an avian influenza crisis right now in our province. I would expect if the member supports farmers and farming, he will stand up for the measures that have to be taken when we are defending ourselves against this egregious virus.
Thank you. Member for West Kelowna Peachland.
Mr. Speaker, Eris Nix and Jeremy Calicum received hundreds of thousands of taxpayers' dollars to run the Drug User Liberation Front, which has been convicted of trafficking drugs in Vancouver. Their sentencing has been delayed because they plan to challenge the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act on the basis it infringes on their charter rights. Why is this government turning a blind eye to drug trafficking in BC? Is it because they believe drug trafficking is a human right?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just to bring clarity to this conversation, any drug prosecutions are led by the federal government. And I have to say that the federal government led a prosecution with members that were accused of drug trafficking, and they were found guilty. And that's something that we had no role in, but we can see that we every time there's criminal activity, we want our system to be working to address that, and we've tooled up our system to do so, and when needed, we work with the federal counterparts to do the same.
Member for Kamloops Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it wasn't that long ago the Premier was dead set against involuntary care. And then the BC Conservatives campaigned to bring it in, and all of a sudden the Premier was a big fan of involuntary care. The Premier not that long ago was adamant that the province would go to $170 a tonne carbon tax regardless of what the rest of the country did. BC Conservatives campaigned to get rid of the carbon tax. All of a sudden the Premier decided to get rid of the carbon tax. That was a good idea. The Premier said decrim was working. BC Conservatives campaigned to repeal it. Suddenly the Premier had a change of heart and decided maybe we should look at repealing decriminalization. The Premier used to be against LNG. BC Conservatives campaigned hard about supporting LNG. All of a sudden the Premier is a big convert and a fan of LNG.
Members.
Wasn't that long ago, and Clark even brought in a private member's bill to repeal the EV mandates. The Premier and his ministers were adamant and backbenchers that the EV mandates were here to stay. Now we hear they're going to repeal those as well. Premier and his ministers, in fact the Premier is the Attorney General, using every tool in the toolbox unsuccessfully in court to be against TMX. Now it's dredged or inlet maybe dredged away by the Premier. So Mr. Speaker, given that the Premier continues to change his position on all of these things once the BC Conservatives are pushing for it, why does he not waste or save everybody a heck of a lot of time? Just admit that we need a northern pipeline, we need the tanker ban removed, and save the next 2 weeks of theatre and just say he actually agrees with it.
Okay. Thank you. We heard the question. Thank you. Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. These are challenging times in Canada. We face
please be respectful.
direct economic attacks from the President of the United States. that are threatening jobs across the country, in BC particularly in the softwood sector, but Ontario auto parts, steel and aluminum. And in a time like this, there is a call to Canadians to do whatever we can to support our country in being able to stand on our own 2 feet, to diversify markets, and be able to make an impact as quickly as we can to ensure prosperity, employment, success for families, lift wages up.
Member,
and
that's
that is
enough.
our focus, Honourable Speaker. Now, you have heard the opposition. Stop talking with First Nations. Now advance the idea that we should get rid of the tanker ban off of the North Coast. Work with the President of the United States. He's just making requests that a friendly neighbor would. Well, they have been consistently wrong, and they are wrong here again. The ban on oil tankers in the North Coast.
Members.
There's a report today.
Come to order.
The ban on the oil tankers in the North Coast supports a $1.7 billion economy. That is thousands of jobs. And the ban enables...
Member for Langley Abbotsford will come to order.
The ban enables major projects to advance that will ensure Canadian resources get to global markets. Without the ban, that social support, or at least tolerance from coastal First Nations, evaporates. And so these members on the other side, for ideological reasons only, because there is no project, there is no proponent, there is no route, working secretly with the province of Alberta to conspire against our economy for a non-existent project, Honourable Speaker. They are not in favor of our province succeeding economically. They are not in favor of tens of thousands of jobs, because when we land these projects, Honourable Speaker, it will show the success of our province, the success of British Columbians, the success of Canadians, and they will be sitting over there for a very long time.
The bell ends the question period. Members, I have two things to talk about. One is earlier member for Peace River South in his supplementary questions. I just want to advise the House that supplementary questions are not an opportunity to open a new line of questioning. Members should be mindful of this requirement. Also, Peace River North, sorry. My apologies. Thank you. Honourable members, with respect to the point of order raised by member for Penticton Summerland earlier, the chair did not intervene, as the chair cannot adjudicate matters which constitute disagreements between members on beliefs or matters of debate that come before the House. The chair will provide the following guidance to the House. Practice recommendation number 5 states, quote, permit a statement not to exceed 2 minutes by the member in charge of introduction of a bill to explain its purpose. No further debate shall be permitted at this stage, unquote. Earlier today, the leader of the fourth party introduced a bill that appeared to propose to remove the designation of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation as a statutory holiday in British Columbia. However, the member introduced several arguments that appeared to the chair to be completely unrelated to her bill. That is inconsistent with practice recommendation number 5, whose provisions are not to be abused to allow for the introduction of arguments that should otherwise be presented by members in subsequent stages of debate. The chair is prepared to intervene should this occur at the introduction of a bill in the future. Madam Clerk. Sorry. Member for Salmon Arms, Shuswap.
Yeah, I seek leave to make an introduction.
Is leave granted? Please proceed.
It's not often I have visitors from the interior, but I am pleased to recognize and welcome some grade 7 to 9 students and their accompanying party from Christadelphian Homeschool Co-op in Armstrong. Can everyone please welcome them to the legislature, and I hope they find the day very insightful.
Madam Clerk.
Orders of the day.
Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. In this chamber, I call continued committee debate on Bill 20, and in the Douglas Forum Section A, I call committee stage on Bill 25.
Committee chairs.
Members, I think we'll call a quick recess while we wait for the Minister and her staff. 5 minutes. Well, good morning, members. We'll call this chamber back to order where we are contemplating the Bill 20, Construction Prompt Payment Act, and we are at committee stage, recognizing the member from Richmond, Queensborough on Clause 43.
So, thank you, Chair. Last time we were here, we were talking about Clause 43, administrative fees. And we were covering many fees that we actually covered. We talked about retroactive fees. We talked about referral fees. We talked about percentage fees. We talked about just fees in general. There was one fee that we did not cover. It's quite common when you're talking fees around the legal sphere. A lot of lawyers actually charge upfront fees before work actually gets done. I guess for lawyers it's called a retainer. You pay your fees up front, make sure there's security there, and then you do the work. And so now we're dealing with adjudication authority. Adjudication authority might be a company, and or it might be a nonprofit, or it might be a public body as well. But when you're dealing with corporations, the essence of business is making sure that you're protecting your revenue stream. And so one source of fee could be you put the fee down before a service is even performed. So it's important to kind of figure that out. A lot of people that are probably in the construction industry, they're probably used to it because they go in, a lot of them have been hiring lawyers, and standard practice that you lawyer says this is how much it's going to cost. I do need a retainer in advance, sometimes the lawyers actually go and take care of the fees for, like, say a board or a tribunal or court fees, and they just kind of disperse everything. And now with I guess the bypassing of lawyers, so you don't have to go to court, you're now dealing with a tribunal or adjudication authority. And so lawyers might be out of the picture. So now someone still has to pay the costs, and somebody still has to pay the fees and expenses related to the actual adjudication authority. And so in regards to that situation, my next question is in regards to, has the Attorney General's Department contemplated there might be advance fees before any work actually gets done?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Chair. I'm afraid I'm getting quite repetitive in my answers here as different types of fees get thrown at me from the member. And I just want to say again, it's broad enough to capture any, if you look at the sections, it says the adjudicating authority may specify an amount or method for determining an amount. And it tells you the range of fees that they could fly, and it says may. So I'm going back to my same answer here. So maybe if I could I can just say that any further questions related to fees, I'm going to have the same answer, and even with different examples of fees.
Thank you, Minister. Recognizing Richmond, Queensborough.
I appreciate the answer from the Attorney General. And the reason why I'm bringing all these examples, because a lot of these examples actually happen in the legal world. You do get the advance fees. You do get deferral of fees. Well, I didn't speak about deferral fees, but I guess the answer will probably be the same. And we do have all these different fees that I've spoken about. You see them in the legal world. That's why I know about them from my experience of being in the legal world. And that's why I'm bringing it up, because people are going to be wondering, look, we're bypassing the lawyers, but we're not used to all these fees because we used to hire a lawyer before. So how are we going to come about this? And so that's why I brought it up. So for the record, people know that we've actually talked about it, and they know that if there is that type of fee that they're used to paying right now, there is an answer for it. So that was the logic behind that. And but I think that was the last fee. I did have one more fee, deferral fee, but I guess that will be the next answer for the fees. All right. So I think I just got one more question on the fees, and I think so. or we might be ready to go to the next clause, actually. No.
Thank you very much. Shall Clause 43 pass? Aye. So ordered. Richmond Queensborough on Clause 44.
All right, so Clause 44, the subtitle reads, Minister may act as adjudication authority. I think we tried to deal with this question, or I had some questions related to this, and then I think the Attorney General deferred her answer until we got to this section to answer a lot of the questions I was asking earlier. So I have specific questions on this one, and the first question I have, under what circumstances does the government realistically anticipate the minister needing to act as adjudication authority?
Attorney General.
So this is an important part of just making sure there's no gaps in the instance where there's no adjudication authority, but there is some kind of a duty that's required that an adjudication authority would have performed had they been in place, or for the examples that we talked about, if one was terminated, like if you terminated the agreement with the adjudication authority and there were still duties that needed to happen to keep things flowing in the interim, that there's the minister has that responsibility in that situation.
Thank you, Minister. Richmond Queensborough.
I see the subsection here talks about fees again. So I think I had one question. I'm glad that popped up right there in terms of fees, so I'm going to be asking about that. I think I did bring it up. I think that was my last question from the last time we were here. I think we had left off on the question, what would happen if adjudication authority had fees sitting and then the provincial government decided that, look, adjudication authority, you've had your chances. You've been failing on all fronts, and it's now come to the period that we have to revoke your designation. We have to get you out of the picture. And now we got the situation that the Attorney General just mentioned. The minister's saying, okay, the minister's going to take over. But what would happen to those fees? Because those fees are now sitting in the bank accounts of, it could be a corporate entity. And then how do you get to, like, what's going to happen to those fees? And there's probably many procedures that are not over yet. There are hearings that are set that are supposed to happen, and fees have been registered. And but the provincial government doesn't have any control over the corporate entity that has its own bank account. And they're like, okay, you don't want us to be the body or adjudication authority anymore. We're leaving. But they got the funds. Like, how do you get the funds? Like, you got to still operate this procedure. I see that there's this section that says that fees, it says that a fee under subsection 43(1) that is established by the minister acting under the subsection must be paid to the government. I guess, I don't know, would this section deal with that situation?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Chair. So that would likely be dealt with, what would have to be dealt with in the contract. So there would be once there's a designation, I think we talked about it, that the way you would execute that is through some kind of commercial or contract between government and the adjudication authority. And in there, you would build in provisions that talked about what happened in the event of termination. And you'd probably have many things in there that would cover off exactly what happens with fees and money held by the organization and that kind of thing.
Thank you, Minister. Richmond Queensborough.
I understand the logic that there seems to be a lot of theory there. Well, this is how it's going to happen. There's a contract. There's a lot of contracts in the legal world, but some people break, and a lot of people break them. And then people are looking out for the remedies. How do we get our hands on some of these things that we're entitled to and the other party still has? So what's a recourse? You go to court. You go to court, it takes a long time to actually enforce that contractual obligation. You're dealing with the courts. Wheels of justice move very slowly. So when the minister says, oh, I'm taking over because you're doing a bad job, I'm coming in now, and we do have a contract, so I'm going to need my hands on that money. And because we got to keep this procedure flowing forward but the adjudication authority is doing a bad job. I'm revoking your designation. So the minister, I guess in this case, it would be the Attorney General coming in. Attorney General would be like, I'm taking over. So is the Attorney General going to rely on the contract and say, okay, now we got to go to court and we're going to get the fees? Like, how do you get your hands on that money?
Attorney General.
Chair, your guidance to get us back to the clauses, I think this is a very interesting exploration of hypotheticals that may or may not happen in a future contract that doesn't exist, but I don't think it's rooted in the clause. So, but of course, like if there was a situation where it was a termination that in some future government or forum went really badly, there would likely be court action if there's breaches of contract.
Thank you. Attorney, recognizing Richmond Queensborough.
With all due respect to the Attorney General's response that hypotheticals, this is like a real hypothetical. The purpose of this legislation is to design adjudication authority that's going to set the regulatory framework of prompt payment. This legislation, we're on this clause right now that states that things might not work out based upon what the Attorney General said. If things don't work out, the minister is going to take over. Now, if we're going to rely on some contractual remedy and things haven't worked out, this is a major problem. We could be looking at 2 years of holding the hold up on the money, and somebody doesn't have access to the procedure here. This goes to the very core of this procedure operating once adjudication authority is flipped out. I understand that it's hypothetical, but everything we're talking about today is hypothetical. Why is it hypothetical? Because we do not have adjudication authority today. We do not have a prompt payment system today. So everything we're talking about, with all due respect, is hypothetical today. Because we're trying to formulate regulatory body, adjudication authority for prompt payment, but we don't have it yet. But we have to have some foresight in this legislation, because that adjudication authority will come up, the prompt system will come up, and we need this legislation to work to make sure nothing is going to fall through the cracks. And so, is it that the Attorney General's Department has not turned its mind to? Maybe they thought that, well, look, there's a contract available, obviously we're going to have the remedy set for it. Or did the Attorney General's Department say that maybe the government will have a joint account with the adjudication authority, so if it doesn't work out, the government can just step in. That's the whole purpose of having a joint account. You can just step in, and the minister would have control of those funds, and we would have proper flowing procedure. If the Attorney General's Department has not thought of it, are they planning to deal with this within their regulations?
Recognizing the member from Cowichan Valley.
Thank you, Chair. I seek leave to make an introduction.
Thank you, member. Is leave granted, members? Carry on, member.
Thank you. I'd like to draw to attention, Take a Hike program from Duncan is here in the gallery. Hi, everyone. They are celebrating a milestone of 25 years of impact. It's a one-of-a-kind program which has supported over 2,000 youth, 16 programs across Canada. And please, can you help me in welcoming them here today? And I was really excited to see you all here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, member. Attorney General.
Just on that note, Chair, I'm told that Katie beside me used to be on the board of Take a Hike. So there you go. So yeah, I have every confidence in my staff. They've thought of everything when it comes to scenarios. You wouldn't build that into the bill. How you would do it is same answer as before. You would build a contract that considered all these variables, and then you would, if there was breaches, then in that unfortunate circumstance, you would go to court.
Recognizing Richmond Queensborough.
This is a clarification point, but the Attorney General would agree with me that if you were to go to court, the process could take some time. It would not be a quick process. And perhaps I can get that answer.
Attorney General.
The reason for this clause, Chair, this ensures that the minister has the authority to continue the adjudications and continue the work of the prompt payment regime in the event of there being no adjudication authority.
Richmond, Queensborough.
Based upon that answer, so if there's a contract and then, something's not working out, obviously the answer was you go to court, figure it out. I did not get the answer of how it would take some time for that court decision to decide something on the funds. But the answer that I did receive is that the minister would just step in and handle the proceedings, and the proceedings will continue as they were continuing before. So is it fair to say that some proceedings will continue even though that the fees are not currently available because they're still under litigation?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Chair. This provision is that kind of like we were talking before. It's in the event that there is no adjudication authority. It actually hasn't happened in other jurisdictions, but it's prudent legislative drafting to do that. Same answer as before, the kind of issues that the member is raising about fees or how that would be dealt with in a commercial contract. And if there were disputes related to that, we would have to go to court to recover. And then this gives the ability of the minister to continue the work of the prompt payment regime in that instance. And with that, I move that the committee rise, report progress, and ask leave to sit again.
Thank you very much, Minister. You've heard the question, members. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The motion is carried. This committee is adjourned.
Committee Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Committee for Bill 20 reports progress and asks leave to sit again.
When shall the committee sit again, Government House Leader?
At next sitting.
So ordered. Committee Chair.
Mr. Speaker, Section A reports progress on Bill number 25 and asks leave to sit again.
When shall the committee sit again, Government House Leader?
Next sitting.
Thank you. Government House Leader.
I move that the House do now adjourn.
Members, you heard the question to adjourn the House. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. This House stands adjourned until 1 p.m. today.